Welcome back. I kept away because, as you know, we are living in a very very difficult present, and in these difficult times, to talk about past, merely past, which has no link with the present, didn't look like a very good idea. So I thought, let me take a little break. Not because we are out of the mess we were in. We still continue to be in the same situation. But I thought, let me talk about the past in the context of what is happening today. We have heard in the recent times about something which happened exactly similar happened in 1918 to 1920, which we call Spanish flu. And we didn't know it about till this particular pandemic happened. As a history teacher, as a researcher in modern history, I have no qualms actually in accepting that, except for minor references here and there, we did not teach much about the pandemic, 1918 pandemic, because so much was happening in that particular period. Uh, Rowlatt Act, anti-Rowlatt Act movement happened all over. 1918, Jallianwala Bagh happened. In 1920-21, Gandhi's non-cooperation movement happened. Mobilization for that non-cooperation movement happened all over India. So there were crowds all over, public meetings, etc. It all continued to happen, and no textbook of history actually talks about the pandemic which was raging all over India in those times. There are books. Mridula Ramanna has done a beautiful book. That is actually a book which deals with pandemic, which is actually a history of medicine text. But pandemic as part of our history, which should have been part of our research programs, teaching programs, which should have been part of our politics of the times, because it had surely had an impact, should have had an impact. The reason was, it was not actually the only reason, but the major reason was that the news about pandemic in those times was kept under wraps. The colonial government, the British government, which was not the government which bothered about Indians or Indian lives, it didn't even inform us till we were halfway through, till large number of people had already died. Not only in India, in Kansas, where in America, where the origin of the pandemic is supposed to be, the soldiers who were fighting in the trenches in the First World War, lots of Indians, the governments which were involved, the states which were involved in the First World War, all of them kept the news censored because they did not want their armed forces in the trenches to get panicked. So the news was kept under wraps. It was not declared that something like this is raging among the soldiers. It was only the Spanish government, which was a neutral government, which was not actually part of the First World War, which broke the news. And that is the reason why we call it Spanish flu. Spain actually had nothing to do with it. It didn't really originate from there. There were sufferers like others. Lots of people got infected in Spain as well. But the news was broken by them, so it got the name Spanish flu. It actually originated in Kansas in America, as people say. The British government, as usually happens with the governments which are indifferent to people's lives, whether they are national governments or colonial governments, indifference is actually the same. The colonial government declared that the flu actually spread not on the docks when the soldiers were coming back from the First World War. It happened when they landed here in Bombay. So they actually passed on the buck to the people themselves. So instead of helping them, instead of telling them about the consequences, what all they need to do. Times of India brought out some precautions, exactly the same precautions as we hear today all the time. Social distancing, mouth and nose, these are two sources of infection. Keep away, don't go into the crowded places, etc. But these all things were being published in English newspapers. Not many people actually took it seriously. Times of India itself, after giving reports, said, "Oh, nothing to bother. It's not that serious." So this is the attitude which that particular government took towards the pandemic. The impact of the pandemic, you must have heard in recent times or read in recent times, affected a large number of people. It affected Mahatma Gandhi himself, who was just 48-year-old, who had just come from Africa 4 years ago. He was infected. He was confined in the Sabarmati ashram with C.F. Andrews and with so many others. He remained confined for 3 months. He stayed on liquid diet. He refused to take allopathic medicines because we know his attitude towards medicines. Kasturba convinced him to take medicines. So with a lot of difficulty, his life could be saved. So things were that serious. Now today we hear about the Ganges full of dead bodies, which is such a sad sight and sad news. All this is happening during our national government. I mean, this sort of calamity, this sort of dance of death should have happened when we have a government which runs on nationalist steam all the time, which runs on jingoism sometimes. And it should have bothered Nirala, Suryakant Tripathi Nirala, the great, famous Hindi poet, lost his wife. He lost most of his family members. He writes in his account about the sight which he saw, that he saw the Ganges swollen with dead bodies. And so when we see this today, we see how actually we are reliving history. We are actually reliving history. It's exactly the same thing which was happening in those times. And the indifference of government, the behavior, the reaction of the government is unfortunately not very far from what was happening in the early 20th century, because the suffering of the people is exactly at the same level. Because during that pandemic, India was a country which suffered the most. Close to 17 to 20 million people died in India. All over the world, number is about 50 million, over 50 million. But in India alone, 17 to 20 million people died. Today, of course, the number can't be that large, because we live in a world where you have allopathic medicines, you have antibiotics, we have so many other medicines to relieve our pain. We have hospitals, which are not enough, if we see today, because people are suffering. Most of the people have suffered. Most of the people have died today who didn't deserve to die. They died because they could not get access to oxygen. They couldn't get access to hospitals. They couldn't get access to ICU, which was their right. This is what a citizen needs. If the government really wants to see them as citizens, as honest citizens, as citizens who deserve, taxpayers who deserve some care from the administration, from the infrastructure which should have been in place. I'm sure nobody can say that or claim that pandemic can any government can be prepared for pandemic all the time, because we see most of the governments actually had to prepare themselves. They took a lot of time to recover. They also had lots of casualties in Europe and America, everywhere. But there was a system in place which looked after people. In our country today, people are dying without drugs, without facilities, without access to hospital system, without access to basic amenities. And I'm talking about the rural India, the villages. The dead bodies are being thrown into Ganges. So these are things which we could have easily avoided, because we need to have saved our rural India, because that is the most vulnerable part of India. That is a part of India which can never be prepared for any such calamity, because our urban India itself is so vulnerable. So this is something which somehow we missed, and a large number of people have lost their lives. Lots of people are still struggling. So I hope that all this comes to an end as soon as possible, and most of the people who are suffering get back home happy and healthy. Thank you.